Everybody, it's Mark again, and today I'm going to work on this clock. This is an antique GK Railroad cuckoo clock. The topper, the rest of the topper's in the other room, but the hands don't want to turn, and they've been giving me an issue for a while. So I did like I do to every other clock with plastic hands and a square minute arbor as I rounded out the minute hand. Put the square washers down first, then the hand, and then the nut. But I can't get the hands to turn. They are locked up. I think the problem is that compression lock washer that's under the what would be known as the minute wheel is the intermediate wheel. I think that is got too much pressure on it. That's my guess. So I'm going to take this clock apart and figure out why it ain't working properly. I should be able to turn this with very little pressure, but it's not turning. So I got the hands off, release the bird so I can take the movement out. And the way they made this door, it easily comes off. So I'm going to put that in my parts box. Now it's time to take the chains off in the bellows. So I'm going to take the bellows out, take the chains out, take the movement out, and we'll come back. There was something else that was put in a bind. I'm not for sure exactly what it was, but as you can see, the wheels turn as I turn the minute hand. Now, I want to show you how you set up a round hole minute hand. If I can take this back off. First, make sure it's not a bone hand. Because if you do this to a bone hand, original bone hand, you're degrading the clock's value. But it's your clock and you can do what you want, I guess. This threaded washer that has a collar on it is what typically goes down first. But not in this case. If you put this down first, and then put a minute hand on, and then put washers and nuts on, you could turn that hand all day long. Nothing is going to happen. This is what has to happen. You put a square hole washer down first. And if you don't have a metal one, you can use a plastic one from like a plastic hand. Just cut the round part off. Use that. I love these things, but sometimes they're a pain in the butt. Sometimes they don't want to stay where you put them. Anyway, I need to put that metal washer down further, and so there is far enough. Now I'm going to have to do this all again when I put it back into the case, because the reason why you put that washer down first is because you made the minute hand into a round hole, just like the hour hand. If you don't put that washer down first, the minute hand is going to go into the hour pipe. And after you put the washer down, then the minute hand, and then you grab that threaded collar washer, and you could go that side down or this side down. It don't really matter. But you tighten it up until you can turn the minute hand. Again, sometimes these things don't work as good as what you want them to. You tighten up that minute hand and that nut, that collar, until you can turn the minute hand and things rotate just like that. And then you put the decorative nut on. I call it a decorative nut. It's got a tapered section on. So now it looks like that versus looking like that. Let's say you have the original square hole hands. The Cuckoo Clock Repair Manual under Hubert Herr, setting up Hubert Herr hands, it's the same procedure. Let me get this back off. I take my square washer back off. This collar goes down first, and it goes down to where the flanged area is up in the air. And then you only put it on just enough, because if you look really close, there are not threads all the way down to where this part, once you push that down, there are not threads all the way down. So you have to back up this collar enough so when you put the minute hand on, and again, it's going to be a square hole minute hand. That you have just enough threads left to put the decorative nut on. And I'm going to get out in the book and show it to you. Hubert Herr hand setup. As you can see, you got this, which is this threaded system right here. And then you got the decorative nut, which is this. And it says the hour hand is simply pressed onto the tapered hour hand shaft. It is held in place by friction. Next, item B, the threaded washer is screwed onto the minute hand arbor. It is screwed down just far enough that when the minute hand is placed on the minute hand shaft, the top of the minute hand is slightly above the threads of the minute hand arbor. Next, the hand nut is screwed on to hold everything in place. And so, like I said, because these threads don't go all the way down, you have to put this on. So when you put the minute hand on, it is just above the threads. And in this case, I'm putting the shaft down first. That way I have more threads. So when you put the minute hand on, you have just enough threads to put the nut on. And when you do this, again, you have a square whole hand. It's going to fit on that square shaft, and so it's not going to fit very much on that square shaft because, as you can see, there's no thread showing at the end of the minute hand. So you have to back this off until you have thread showing at the end of the minute hand in order for you to put this decorative nut on. See, because when I put the decorative nut on, I don't know if you could tell, but there's a slight gap between the end of the square shaft that is threaded, that this first threaded collar went on, and the decorative nut. There's a slight gap, and that's because there's not enough threads on this system to thread this collar all the way down. And that's where people, just out of habit, I guess, they want to thread this collar all the way down. And that's where they're making a mistake, because once you put the hand on, and antique hands are thicker than this plastic hand. So if I was to get an antique hand, yeah, everything would work. But if you're dealing with thin plastic hands, then you have to back this collar up more. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'm going to put this movement back together now into the case. This is my hand that Justin Barron made for my Alexander bleed clock. And you see the thickness compared to the plastic hands. And so the procedures that I read from the cuckoo clock repair manual and the Hubert Herr is to adjust for the thickness in the hands. this is not designed to go into this movement. It's an antique hand that I got on another clock. And as you can see, it is thicker, somewhat thicker than the plastic hand. And so, with me putting this down onto the shaft, you would have to back the collar up some, and right about there is where, if you look straight down on the hand, you will see threads at the end of the shaft. So I can now put this decorative nut on, and when I rotate the hands, I don't think these hands are quite made for this clock. It's almost there. There we go. Anyway, as you can see, it rotates. And for some reason, as the hands turn, it is getting tighter. And that's why a lot of people are complaining about. And that's why I tell them to make it into a round hole system. It might be the stupid decorative nut. If I get out a different nut, it might work better. It works better if you don't listen to those clock manual instructions. You put this all the way down, then you put the hand on, and then you build this up with washers. That way, when you put the decorative nut on, it goes down and tightens. And then you can sit here and turn this all day long, and the hands are not getting any tighter. The hands are tight before, and that's because this compression washer underneath here is tight. I'm going to see if I can loosen it up some by putting my screwdriver in there and giving it a twist. Now it's looser. And so I'm going to loosen up some more. There's too much pressure on that compression washer. It's getting looser. It's not loose enough for me yet. I probably should just take the thing apart, but this works. Anyway, for the people who are trying to figure out how to get their hands, they start off and their hands are okay, but as time goes on, the hands tighten up to the point where you can't manually rotate the hands. Thread a collar, screw it all the way down. Put the hand on. Put a couple of washers on. And then put the decorative nut on. Because if you do it by the book, what the book says, I'm gonna take all this stuff back off and show you what happens. If you do what the book says, if I run this back some, and then you put the hands on, and as you are you gotta put the nut on. Sorry. As the hands rotate, see, it's already getting tight on me. As the hands rotate, it's tightening everything up because that nut is turning, and it is tightening everything up. And if I go counterclockwise with the hands, which you're not supposed to do, it loosens everything up. So maybe there's another issue going on with this movement, and that's why it's doing that. Honestly, I don't know. So if in a case like that, try the collar washer all the way down, put the hand on, put some washers on, and then the decorative nut. And you'll be able to rotate the hands. Before, within a couple of turns, the hands got too tight for me to rotate them. Okay, I figured out what the problem was. I ended up taking this off, and this intermediate wheel didn't want to come off. It was too tight on the shaft, and so now, following the book directions, I can put the hand on and it doesn't tighten up. But it's a square hole minute hand, and you see the time that it's off. It would be off if you put it on correctly. It would be a few minutes off, and that's why I like using round hole minute hands. It's 5 minutes after the hour when it struck. And so that's why I like using round hole minute hands, and that's why I will use a round hole minute hand on this clock, because the hands are plastic, they're not bone hands. So anyway, I need to put this movement back into the case. I have the movement back in the case, and I'm going to show you one last time. With when you make the hands round hole, with the hardware that it comes with, you have to do different things. If you put the round convex threaded washer on, and then you put the hand, and then you put a washer, and then a nut, I don't care how tight you tighten this thing down, it's not going to turn the hands. I don't know why. I'm not an expert. You have to put the flat washer, the square washer on first. And again, that is to prevent the hand from slipping too far down the shaft. I got to put it down further than that. I really need to make this thing, this square washer, bigger. That is to prevent the hand from going down the shaft, because this hole is the same size as the hour hand hole now. That might be far enough. Then you put the hand on, and then you put the this piece here on, which is the threaded round, the inside threaded round washer. And you tighten it up only enough to where when you turn the hands, the hour hand will turn. So now the hour hand is turning. See? So now the last step, and if you have it, you put the decorative nut on top. So now that's what it looks like. And because I use round hole hands, when I turn the hands, I gotta do it again. Sorry, I was pulling on the wrong weight. What is going on here? My cuckoo don't want to come out. That's where it wants to come out. Stand by. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties. So now, when you put my chain hook back on, so now when you turn the hands, cuckoo plays, but the hand is off. It played at 32, 33 past the hour. So now all you got to do is loosen this first nut, tighten it, put your hand where you want it, tighten that first nut back on until you can rotate the hands and the hour hand moves. Still haven't quite got it. So I loosen the nut again, put the hand where I want it, tighten the nut down. And that was at 2 o'clock, by the way, so let's put the hour hand where it belongs. So now I got the hand where I think I want it. I didn't tighten the hand down enough, as you can see. So now I have to do this all over again. And if in the process, for whatever reason, if the hour pipe comes up, you want to take and make sure that the hour pipe is on properly. And then work the hands all over again. So I'm going to get it adjusted, then I'll come back. Let's try it one more time. As you can see, it's dead on the money. The minute hand is dead on the 12. And that's why I do what I do. So, anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please leave me some comments. May God bless each and every one of you. And again, the reason why I started this video is because the hands weren't turning. And the reason why the hands weren't turning was the intermediate wheel was stuck. And so when you as the hands rotate, the washers were getting tighter and tighter and tighter, causing the hands to get tighter and tighter and tighter until the hands got stuck. And so that's because the intermediate wheel was stuck. And so if your clock hands are not rotating, or they're getting stuck after a minute or so, check the intermediate wheel, the one that sits on top of that compression washer, to see if it's in a bind. And here it is back on the wall. Yes, I need to adjust it so the cuckoo bird comes out from the door further, but honestly, I heard too much. I don't feel like messing with it anymore. But as you can see, I can easily rotate the hands. Hope y'all like this video. This clock, by the way, was given to me. It's missing the bottom finials, but everything else is in really good shape. So give me a thumbs up. May God bless each and every one of you.